You ever stop and wonder, is there a map for living a good life? A meaningful one? It's a question, that pretty much all of us ask at some point. Well, today we're going to explore this really fascinating ancient framework that gives us just that, a clear roadmap for this universal human search for purpose. So here's the journey we're going to take together. We'll kick things off by figuring out what purpose even means. Then we'll dive into 4 key goals for a balanced life, look at the different paths and stages we all travel through, get a handle on the rules of the road, and finally arrive at the ultimate destination, liberation. Sound good? Let's go. All right, let's jump right in. To really get a grip on our purpose, we first have to understand the difference between 2 big forces that drive us, our aspirations and our purpose itself. They sound similar, but they're not the same thing.
But before we get into the definitions, just take a second. Seriously, think about your day. Beyond the meetings, the errands, the to-do list, what's the real why? What's the reason you do what you do? Just let that sit for a moment.
Okay, this slide right here gets to the absolute heart of it. Aspirations are the what. They're the specific destinations we plug into our GPS, get that promotion, buy a house, run a marathon. But purpose is the why. It's the compass that tells us which direction ahead in the first place. Without a purpose, we're just collecting cool destinations without really knowing why we're on the journey at all. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Ancient Indian thought actually laid out a roadmap for a fulfilling life, and it's built on 4 balanced goals. Together, they're known as the Purusharthas. First up is Dharma. Think of Dharma as the ethical foundation for your entire life. It's like the operating system running in the background of everything you do. It's about doing the right thing, being honest, fulfilling your duties. And without a strong sense of Dharma, well, the other goals can get shaky, or even a little destructive. Next is Artha, which is all about prosperity. Now, this is the practical side of life, right? It's about making a living, having security, getting the resources you need. And the system recognizes that this isn't about being greedy, it's a necessary goal to support yourself, your family, and your community. Then there's Kama, or pleasure. And we're not just talking about simple indulgence here. This is about the pursuit of joy in its richest, fullest sense. It's love, passion, art, music, anything that brings you emotional and aesthetic fulfillment. It's the goal that reminds us that life is meant to be truly enjoyed, not just endured. And finally, the big one, moksha. This is the ultimate aspiration. It's the quest for spiritual freedom, for true self-knowledge, and for a lasting inner peace that's free from the ups and downs of life. So here's the most important takeaway from this whole section. These 4 goals aren't a ladder you climb, leaving one behind for the next. Think of them like the 4 legs of a table. A life needs all 4 to be stable. I mean, if you chase wealth, artha, without any ethics, dharma, well, we know where that leads. Or if you only seek pleasure, kama, without any deeper purpose, moksha, life can start to feel pretty empty. A truly fulfilling life needs all 4 in balance. Okay, so we've got our destinations, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. But how do we actually, travel towards them? Well, this ancient framework gives us 2 fundamental approaches, 2 different mindsets for the journey. These 2 really represent the core tension in our lives, don't they? On one side of the scale, you've got abhyudaya, worldly progress. This is your career, your achievements, the mark you make on the world. And on the other side, there's misresa, your inner growth, your spiritual peace. The key here is that one isn't better than the other. A whole, complete life requires us to keep both of them in balance. And this slide shows us the 2 methods for pursuing those aims. Pravritti is the path of action. You're out there, engaged with the world, building a career, raising a family, contributing to society. Then you have nivritti, which is the path of contemplation, meditation, reflection, turning inward. For most of us, life isn't about choosing one or the other. We walk both paths, sometimes even on the same day. What's also really cool is that this journey naturally unfolds across 4 stages of life, which are known as the ashramas. You can think of them as the different chapters of our life story. So the journey starts with studenthood, brahmacharya, where our main job is just to learn, grow, and build character. From there, we typically move into householdership, grihasta, that busy stage of building a career, a family, and contributing to the world. Then, as we get older, we enter retirement, vanaprastha, where the focus shifts from doing and accumulating to advising and sharing wisdom. And the final stage is renunciation, sannyasa, a time that's dedicated almost entirely to that inner journey towards self-realization. And what's really beautiful about this is that it's seen as a natural life cycle. It's not some rigid set of rules you have to follow. It's more of a description of how our focus tends to evolve over time, with each stage building perfectly on the last to create this complete, meaningful arc to a life.
So, we have our goals, we have our paths, and we have the stages of our life. But what are the actual rules of the road? This brings us right back to Dharma, but in a much more specific way, as a set of ethical guidelines that were actually written down in ancient texts.
And it's so important to get that this framework isn't just some abstract philosophy. The ideas we've been talking about, the four life goals, Dharma, all of it, were written down in ancient source texts. These weren't just for scholars. They were meant to be practical guidebooks for living, designed to create well-being for both the individual and for society as a whole.
The core principles for this ethical life are laid out in texts called the Dharma Sutras, which literally means the threads of righteousness. You can kind of think of them as the original self-help books written by ancient sages. They gave incredibly detailed guidance on how to weave ethical conduct into every single aspect of your life, from your personal duties to your social responsibility.
All right, let's turn to the final destination on our map. Everything we've talked about, ethics, prosperity, pleasure, action, reflection, it's all ultimately designed to lead to this one final goal, moksha, or liberation.
So what even is moksha? Well, it's not about escaping the world or going to some heaven. It's a journey of understanding. It's about moving from a state of ignorance where we mistakenly think we are our job or our bank account or our anxieties, to a deep, profound knowledge of our true, unchanging self, the peaceful observer within all of us.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Liberation isn't a place you go. It's a state you achieve inside yourself. It is freedom from sorrow and confusion. It's about reaching a state of complete inner freedom, mental clarity, and a kind of peace that doesn't get rattled by what's happening on the outside. So we've just walked through this entire incredible roadmap for a purposeful life, from our daily why all the way to our ultimate liberation. It's a really powerful framework. And it leaves us with one final, very personal question to reflect on. Now that you've seen the map, where are you headed?